I'd like to call to order the regular City Council meeting for the City of Temple City for May 19th, 2026 to order. For those calling in or participating virtually, your microphone will be unmuted during public comment and when public comment is open during an agendized item discussion. You can also email your request to speak to cityclerk@templecity.us right now and indicate on the subject line the item you wish to provide comment. And at the moment, I will now turn it over to our city attorney for a brief announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the public knows, in order to provide the remote participation for Mayor Pro Tem Chen, we have to get some preliminaries out of the way and we'll proceed as normal. I do want to confirm that as required is a quorum of the City Council in the chambers right now. And that there's a webcast of tonight's meeting and as well as a telephonic public comment section as the mayor indicated. In addition to that is that, as you can see, Mayor Pro Tem Chen is participating via both audio and visual technology. He did let us know prior to the meeting that he would like to participate remotely for just cause reasons, specifically on the basis that he is traveling while in business of the city and is currently attending a conference and representing the city at that conference. I did want to confirm a couple things with the Mayor Pro Tem. First, Mayor Pro Tem, can you hear me right now?
Yes, I can.
Great. Just as a preliminary, is there any individual over age of 18 present in the room with you?
No.
Okay, and I will advise you that if someone does come in that's over the age of 18, please let us know when that happens. And obviously leave your video and audio on. All votes tonight will be taken by roll call votes, including any direction being provided to city staff. And that's my report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. City Attorney. And so now I would like our city clerk to do the roll call.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Chavez?
Here.
Councilmember Sternquist?
Here.
Councilmember Yu?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Chen?
Here.
Mayor Mann?
Here. All right, tonight for the invocation, we have the pleasure of having our good friend Pastor Kelty from Community of Christ Church that is located at 5851 Temple City Boulevard, where services are held on Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. and all are welcome. Please rise for the invocation and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
O our most divine Creator, on this most beautiful day, we've gathered here to conduct the business of the city, Temple City. It be our prayer that we offer this evening, we might do so with your wisdom in mind and hearts and souls. Indeed, we might see the future where this city should be going, so that we might direct it that direction, so that it be a better city than it is already. We know not what the future may bring, dear Creator, but know as we seek to do our best that you will be with us, indeed, hand in hand, working together as a community and as individuals within that community. We'll make this a better community. So this then would be our prayer. Indeed, we might make this a better community through what we do today, here and now, both for the city and the staff and the citizens of this community. May we do your will to build a better city tomorrow. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Tonight's Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Boy Scout Troop 161. Our caller will be Howard Ying, and the scouts presenting the flags and the pledge are Anson Wen, Corey Yang, and Aries Miramontes.
May the audience please rise for the presentation of the colors. Color guard, attention. Color guard, censor. Color guard, forward march. Halt. Color guard, please post the colors. uniformed and/or veterans, please salute. All those not, please place your right hand over your heart. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. Color guard, reform. Color guard, return to post. Halt. Color guard dismissed, audience at ease.
Thank you, Boy Scout Troop 161. It's always a pleasure to have you. All right, for next, we have our ceremonial matters. We have a presentation from the Mosquito and Vector Control District. Ms. Medina Diaz, Director of Communications, will provide the update.
Thank you. I do have a.
She needs it quicker.
All right, good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, City Council members, City Manager Cook, and thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening to provide an update on behalf of the district. My name is Anais Medina Diaz. I'm the Director of Communications for SGV Mosquito and Vector Control District. And thank you to Councilmember Sternquist for asking for this presentation. You also serve as our trustee on the Board of Trustees. So today is just really an update on the district's services and how we can protect residents in the San Gabriel Valley from mosquito-borne diseases. The San Gabriel Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District, or SGV Mosquito for short, is a public health agency created under the California Health and Safety Code. Our mission is very simple. It is to protect the community from mosquitoes and other vectors that can spread disease, like Culex mosquitoes, Aedes mosquitoes, and black flies around our foothill communities. We are an independent special district, meaning we were actually formed by residents to protect the residents of the San Gabriel Valley in 1989. And so that stems from a risk of St. Louis encephalitis, which was a public health threat at that time. Today, we provide specialized service surveillance, prevention and control services to reduce the risk of diseases like West Nile virus and increasingly dengue fever. We also serve 26 cities, about 1.5 million residents, and Temple City is an important part of its service area. What we do often is behind the scenes, but it directly impacts the health and quality of life of residents every day. When most people think about mosquitoes, they think about the itchy bites that they leave behind, but for us, mosquitoes are really more of a public health threat. And so they can transmit diseases like West Nile virus and St. Louis encephalitis. And just in the past couple years, we've seen an increase in dengue locally transmitted here in California and here in the San Gabriel Valley. The spread of diseases is really tracked by our surveillance department. So we use integrated vector control management to be able to control mosquitoes. What does that mean exactly? Is that we use our surveillance data, like where are the mosquitoes, how many mosquitoes there are they spreading disease? And that's the way that we can really target our efforts in operations and communication. So our surveillance department does mosquito trapping. They do dead bird collections. Dead birds are often an indicator of West Nile virus in a community. And of course, we do our mosquito testing with partners in the vector control industry. In terms of operations, we're often asked to come out to communities and to spray for mosquitoes, but really the best way to get rid of mosquitoes is to target them in their larval stages when they're in the water. So a lot of our operational efforts focus on this specific task in community sources, by providing residential consultations, green swimming pools. The district oversees over 3,000 pools throughout the San Gabriel Valley to ensure that they are not breeding mosquitoes when they are not operating operational. We also look at underground storm drains, and of course, like I mentioned, we do black fly control. A few months ago, we made the headlines for black fly increase in our foothill communities that often affect the communities that are down below in the San Gabriel Valley. And of course, we have our communications department, and we partner with our cities to be able to provide information about disease activity in the San Gabriel Valley and in the cities to be able to ensure that they are taking the steps needed to protect themselves and their families. So this is done across a multitude of things, but primarily it's being out in the community, and of course our education program that provides free NGSS aligned programs to K through 12 students. Now, aside from this day-to-day operations, we also provide emergency response to protect public health. So you'll often see this when there's West Nile virus. West Nile virus in the community. And recently we were able to respond to the Eaton fire where there was thousands of pools left behind. And so with the support of the state and local other agencies, we were able to treat these pools and prevent them from breeding millions and millions of mosquitoes and potentially increase the risk of West Nile virus. And we couldn't have done that without the support of the San Gabriel Valley cities advocating for our expertise and ability to be able to carry out the service. And then lastly, of course, we respond to human disease. So when we detect West Nile virus in a community, we often alert our city trustee, which in this case would be Councilmember Sternquist, and the city staff, and we push out notifications to your community to let them know that West Nile virus is once again in the community, and it's really now very important to take active steps to protect themselves, to reduce mosquito populations and sources on their properties. And so we try to increase education in that capacity. But we also offer additional resources. Mosquito control is a shared responsibility, and while mosquitoes cannot be completely eliminated, we do provide services that help support our residents. So we have a tip line for reporting mosquito activity and standing water in your community. You can do that anonymously. We also provide free property consultations with customized mosquito management plans. Mosquito fish for ponds or non-functional pools. Mosquito fish are an excellent biological way to control mosquitoes. And of course, we have community programs and real-time alerts to keep residents informed. And so beyond routine mosquito control, I just want to end with some of these items. Like I mentioned, we responded to the Eaton fire burn area, and we are foreseeing being able to control those pools for the recovery process. We also respond to local dengue activity. In the past 3 years, we've seen at least 80% of the local dengue cases here in the San Gabriel Valley. That's out of all of out of California. So we are a hotspot for it, but our district is very prepared and has reacted and responded to these cases very diligently and to be able to reduce the risk. And lastly, Aedes mosquitoes who transmit dengue are very difficult to manage. And so we're exploring innovative strategies to address these mosquitoes. For one example is sterile insect technique. So you might have heard this, where it's the mass release of male mosquitoes. We won't be doing that here in the city of Temple City, but we are doing our program launch this year in a community of Bassett. So you will likely hear about that. And so the idea is to release male mosquitoes that do not bite to mate with wild female mosquitoes, and the eggs that are reproduced will not hatch. And so over time, these mosquitoes will reduce in population. And these are invasive, so they're not part of our ecological system. They're really just increasing risk for disease transmission. So in closing, our work is rooted in prevention and guided by science, and we are here as a resource for your residents. So if you ever have any residents who need an assistance, please let them know. We are already paid for. We are a public agency, and we are here as a resource to protect public health. So thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any council questions?
Excuse me, I have a couple of questions, Mayor. First of all, Ms. Diaz, thank you for being here tonight and offering all this information. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
A couple of questions. So you mentioned black fly control. Are those just the flies that we see around?
That's an
The
excellent
trash
question.
and, or is that some special kind of fly?
They are different than your normal house flies. So
Okay.
these black flies are, the black flies that I'm referring to are also called buffalo gnats, and they're extremely tiny. They're smaller than a mosquito.
Oh, so
And
these
you-
little gnats that fly around, would that be a black fly?
They look like gnats, but they're
Okay.
actually biting black flies. You'll be able to tell them. So here in our community of Temple City, you won't see them too often.
Oh, okay.
It's more closer to the foothill communities or areas or communities that are around running water. And that's because black flies stem from running water. And so the San Gabriel River really is one of our major sources here in the San Gabriel Valley. But you'll know the difference. These black flies bite very
Okay.
aggressively, and they're painful.
And do they carry disease as well?
So here in the San Gabriel, or in our region, they don't transmit disease, but they can transmit river blindness. Usually this pathogen is seen in other parts of the world like Africa, but here we have not seen transmission, and the risk is very, very low.
And you mentioned a couple of, the West Nile virus and then dengue, I think you said?
Dengue, yes.
What are the symptoms of those diseases?
Yeah, so for West Nile virus, it is endemic, so we see it every year. And the symptoms for West Nile virus are cold-like symptoms. It's very difficult to tell them apart. But for older adults or for folks who have immunocompromised systems, they're more likely to have severe symptoms. And that could be paralysis, meningitis, high fever. So body aches, things like that nature. And so if you suspect that you've been bit by an infected mosquito, we advise you go to your primary care doctor and ask for testing. As far as dengue goes, it's mostly seen in travel-related cases, but we have been seeing local cases. And another term for this disease is called break bone fever. And so that's what it feels like. It feels like your bones are breaking. And you can actually contract it at least 4 times. There's 4 different variants.
But it's treatable.
Both of these, you have to treat the symptoms. There's no cure, no vaccine for, I misspoke there. There's no cure and no human vaccine for West Nile virus, and there is no cure for dengue, but there is a vaccine available only in areas where the dengue is endemic, so Latin American countries.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilmember Yu? No, thank you. Okay. Councilmember Sternquist?
I just wanted to thank Anise for coming this evening. It's nice for you to be able to see her. She's fantastic, and I get to see her every month, and
Thank you.
you are always doing such a fantastic job. So thank you, and thank you for coming out this evening.
Thank you for having us.
And I too appreciate you coming tonight to educate us on this matter. And I know Councilmember Sternquist throughout the years have shared a lot of very useful information that she brings from her meetings with the mosquito district. So it's been educational. I've learned more about mosquitoes than I ever thought I would.
That's good. We need to learn about this.
Is that the 7 o'clock morning meeting?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I do want to check if Mayor Pro Tem Chen has any questions. No, I see him shaking his head. So I do have one question. In terms of green swimming pools or large stagnant bodies of water, and this might be a city manager question too, is there any overlap in terms of nuisance abatement / code enforcement and what the vector control district actually does? Like where is that overlap if there exists, and whose role is to do what in a case of something like that?
I can go first. So we have our technicians that have certain zone areas, and they build relationships with our code enforcement officers to be able to handle these. So we do reach out to the resident, and we try multiple attempts to be able to rectify the situation before we have to go to an abatement process, because at that point we are imposing a fine. That's not our goal. Our goal is to protect public health. But yes, we work with the city's code enforcements to be able to either contact the resident or to be able to rectify the situation. At the end of the day, we want those pools to either be repaired or empty.
Okay.
And the team at Vector Control is really great. Mr. So, Mr. Tran, and Mr. Boo, who's part of our code enforcement team, work hand in hand with our teammates at Vector Control, and from a communication standpoint, but also to an enforcement standpoint. We've only had a few cases over the years in Temple City where we've had to go through a significant abatement process, and that's been for a lot of different circumstances, but usually it's abated. The abatement process is usually dealt with pretty quickly.
Okay. So that's good to know. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
for
Thank
coming.
you all so much for your
you.
time.
Okay, next we move to public comments on items not listed on the agenda. If you wish to address the council, please fill out a speaker request form. We do have one speaker request form from Alan Haustengard.
Hello. I'd like to begin by giving you a great website. I'll spell it out for you. It's www.ILLUSTRAMEDIA.com. And now on to another subject. Doctors whose profession and responsibility it is to preserve life, who then take life by abortion, are hypocrites. Especially, and now I am speaking to old men, young men will not understand this, when you consider the soon and coming advent of World War III. Have you heard the expression, all hands on deck? Abortion on demand has already eliminated 64 million, and the multiplied millions more who would have been their children and grandchildren. These untold millions would have stood with us against the onslaught of foreign armies. I do not know the day or the hour, but we are not ignorant of the times and the seasons. Ask the American Medical Association about the prognosis for World War III. It's pretty grim. Now I'm going to the book of Matthew, chapter 1, starting in verse 16. And Jacob begot Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Jesus, who is called Christ. So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. From David until the captivity in Babylon are 14 generations. And from the captivity in Babylon until the Christ are 14 generations. Now the birth of Jesus Christ was as follows. After his mother Mary was betrothed to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Spirit. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not wanting to make her a public example, was minded to put her away secretly. But while he thought about these things, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take to you Mary, your wife.
Mr. Haustengard, your 3 minutes are up. Thank you. At this point, is there anyone else who would like to address the City Council on items not listed on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment and we will move on to the next item. Item 7, consent calendar. All items may be approved in a single motion unless any council members would like to pull an item for discussion.
Mayor, I'd like to pull item 7F, please.
Okay, 7F.
Mr. Mayor,
has been pulled. Yes.
if I may, for the public comment on items not listed on the agenda, we have to open the floor to the call-in comment
yes.
as well, before we move on.
Okay, thank you for reminding us. We will revert back to item 6. And I would like to ask the city clerk if there are any callers or virtual participants for the public comment.
Mayor, there are no callers and no virtual participants.
Okay, thank you. So having that, we can now close public comment and go back to consent calendar. On that item, we have 7F that has
Please.
been pulled.
Thank you.
Are there any other items? If not, can we have a motion for the remaining items?
Motion to approve the remaining items?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. If there are no objections, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Sternquist?
Yes.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chen?
Yes.
Mayor Mann?
Yes. Okay, so we're on item 7F, and I will turn it over to Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Mayor Mann. I just pulled this item just to kind of briefly, kind of give a history of why this is before us tonight and what we hope to gain by this. And what I mean, I'm referring to the California Joint Powers Insurance Authority. As many of you know, Councilmember Sternquist and I sit on the executive committee. About a month ago, we had our executive committee workshop, and this subject was brought up. And in fact, we heard from our lobbyists concerning this matter and how we wanted to move forward on it. And this is basically the first step. As you can see from the report, we are asking our member cities, or I keep saying we, but JPI is asking our member cities to write a letter of support for what we are calling the Coalition to Protect Community Services. And basically it's, and it seems that in the legislature, calling something liability reform is like a bad word. We don't like to use that term because considering the makeup of our legislature right now, it's doomed to failure, it seems like. So we're going to go about it a different way. And by putting this together, and as I said, we've hired lobbyists to support this. It's probably going to be next year sometime that it's going to get really rolled off, but we're trying to get a head start on it. And the reason for this is that I know many of you have seen in the news or heard reports from us how jury verdicts are basically going out of control. It's what we call in the law runaway juries. And we've seen more and more of this the last few years. And as you can see from the report, the numbers are staggering. We've got, an increase in 370% of million-dollar claims. Our insurance premiums, have gone up 370%. Million-dollar claims, 67%. And we estimate exposure to exceed $2 billion annually by 2027. So there's got to be something done. And what this coalition, or the purpose of this coalition to do, is to try to tweak the law a little bit, because what's happening now, just kind of briefly, is that government agencies are now being held accountable or responsible financially because of the fault of other parties. It's because of the nature of the way the law is set up. It's kind of what we refer to as deep pockets, and people who are injured, especially it involves a city or municipality, tend to end up suing that city, and many times juries are awarding or giving awards against cities when the city really wasn't at fault, but someone else was. We call that comparative negligence. And so at this point, we feel that the law needs to be tweaked a little bit to make it a little fair. JPI is not trying to get out of paying claims that are valid, claims where cities are negligent. That's not the purpose, but to hold them only accountable for the negligence that they have in the case, and not just because they are an entity with a lot of money and insurance coverage. So that's really the starting point. So more to see on that as we get further into it, but it's really, I think, for the betterment of all the members, and we'll see how that goes. Of course, we need the backing of the legislature as well to get this through, and they've hired some pretty good lobbyists to assist us in that. So more to follow, but I just wanted to kind of highlight, and I think it's a good start. Okay. Did you want to add anything on that, Cynthia?
No, but I was going to ask you if you could tell the audience and council about these attorneys, or I don't know if they're attorneys, but people that invest with attorneys to help get large settlements? They're like real estate investors, except they invest in attorneys and they front the money.
Yeah, well, a lot of what happens with some of these firms, and as you know, the people who prosecute these cases don't have the money to finance them. So now we have companies coming in and offering to finance these otherwise very expensive cases where either the plaintiff or even the law office could not do so in exchange for, of course, getting a percentage of the outcome. So it's kind of developing into that type of a industry, which is not a good thing as well.
Escalates the claims.
Escalates the claims and the costs and everything else. So there just has to be some ceiling on it, I guess you could say, which right now there really isn't. And of course, it's the municipalities that are paying the bill on this. So hopefully we can get this statewide, and it'll be a good thing for the members as well as the city of Temple City. So, right?
I did want to ask, could you tell us who this coalition actually consists of?
Well, right now it's headed by the California JPI.
Okay.
So we're trying to get some traction going on that
Got
as
it,
well.
got
So, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. Any questions? Okay,
Ed?
all right.
Ed?
Mayor Pro Tem Chen, any questions? Okay, seeing none from council,
And with that, I'll make a motion to approve items 7F.
okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there are no objections, may we have a roll call vote on this item, please?
Councilmember Chavez,
Yes.
Councilmember Sternquist,
Yes.
Councilmember Yu,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chen,
Yes.
Mayor Mann.
Yes, 7F has been approved. Next, we move to item 8A, our public hearing on Assembly Bill 2561, fiscal year 25-26, local public employees vacancy report. And we will start with our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Mann and members of the council. Beginning in January of last year, the state law required that all public agencies report their vacancy rates for those budgeted positions that they had budgeted in the during the course of the fiscal year. And that is due July 1st. In our case, we have about a little more than 5% vacancy rate at one time. We actively look to recruit for those positions. And the rest of the report speaks to the retention and other things that we are trying to do as a local agency to make sure that we are filling those positions in a timely manner. The report is, all the information in the report is what is required by state law. So even though technically this is a receive and file, you still have to conduct a public hearing for it and for you to receive and file the report. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that it?
That's it, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
At this point, are there any questions from council? Councilmember Yu?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. City Manager, I suppose the purpose of this state legislature was to allow bargaining units to participate, and perhaps this will be one public forum where they can express their opinion about how to improve I guess, filling of the vacancies, right? Is that the purpose of the legislation?
Recalling when the legislation was passed, yes, that was part, I believe several of the public employee bargaining units felt as though cities were not being as clear about that. So this, provides in a public forum, as you're saying, the ability for the bargaining units to express some opinion and state, because we usually don't provide that in any financial statement or anything like this. So this is supplementary information that we're providing to the public, but also to the public employee unions as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Councilmember Sternquist?
Just how do we give them this information?
We just provide it in this format at a council meeting. So they have that information. It's available to them.
Okay, so there's nothing we do.
There's nothing
that's-
required under the law that requires that we submit to them. This is not a meet and confer issue.
Okay.
This is nothing in terms of a protected bargaining unit requirement that we would have to disclose. Just, we're doing what's allowed under state law.
Okay.
Councilmember Chavez.
It appears to me that this is kind of redundant for cities who do negotiate for unions, since they would have access to this information anyway, wouldn't they? And
It's a requirement by law, but we have an excellent relationship with our bargaining units too. So if they have any other concerns, and there's
I mean,
parts.
unless other cities are bargaining differently than we are, these are always issues that we discuss. Well, what vacancies do we have, and, you know, what policies and practices, what kind of services are we providing? Those are all things that come up during the negotiation, so it seems like, I don't know who this is geared towards, but certainly not, I would imagine that most cities who deal with unions, and it's probably a majority of the cities in California now, it's kind of already being done, so I don't know. maybe-
We have, in our current MOU too, we have what's called a labor management committee as well, which allows the opportunity for a bargaining unit to bring to management any issues that they see, they want to discuss, even outside the scope of bargaining, just time, place, work, you know, all the types of work conditions. So those avenues are available.
Okay.
Mayor, if I could just
Yes.
add, I think so Mr. City Manager can confirm what I'm about to say. I think part of the reason for this legislation is so that the bargaining unit can see the percentage of vacancies, i.e. meaning that some work was actually contracted outside, so.
Right, and
so therefore, you know, the whole thing was you contract more work out, that means you hire less people.
Right, and there's protected bargaining positions and work, and we are a contract city, which we explicitly state in all of our labor documents as well. So, but yeah, to your point, Councilmember Yu, that's part of some, I think what the legislature is trying to ensure is that bargaining work that is allowed under the bargaining unit stays within that scope.
Do you know who sponsored this bill?
I do not recall off the top of my head, sir.
Sure, it was some pro-union person. So, yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Chen, any questions?
No,
Okay.
sir.
All right. All right, so at this point, I will open the public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this particular item? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. Any final council questions? Oh, yes, I keep forgetting, I'm so sorry. Before I close the public comment, I will open it again. Madam City Clerk, are there any callers or virtual participants on this item?
Mayor Mann, there are no callers or virtual participants.
Thank you. See, we had this down pat during COVID, and then now it's trying to relearn that again.
You're warming up, sir.
Yes, but thank you for the reminders. I appreciate it. So now,
Keep a good eye on this, Ed. You're gonna
now we can close public comment, and now if there are any final council questions or comments, Councilmember Yu?
No comments, thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Sternquist?
No, thank you.
Councilmember Chavez?
Nothing further.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem Chen? Okay. All right. I don't have any. I just want to say thank you for bringing this to our attention. And I think this is part of, I mean, if there's anything that comes of it, it's for the sake of transparency.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. With that, may I have a motion for this item?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, now that we've conducted a public hearing for this item, I move that we received and filed the fiscal year 25-26 annual employee vacancy report.
Second?
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Unless there are any objections, I'd like to call a roll call vote for this, please.
Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Sternquist?
Yes.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chen?
Yes.
Mayor Mann?
Yes. Okay. That item has been approved. Next, we move to unfinished business, which we have none. Item 10, new business, we also have none. And we move to item 11, update from our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Mann and members of the council. We are in the midst of budget season. Thank you for spending the time a couple weeks ago regarding the strategic work plan session. We've taken those comments, those thoughts, your direction, and that will be part of the budget study session that we will have on January. It's a Wednesday because it's after a Tuesday election. So that was. Sorry, let me take a look. Sorry about that. June 3rd. Thank you. So Wednesday, June 3rd will be the regular council meeting, but right before that will be our budget study session. We are in a strong financial position to invest back into the community. I know with the ad hoc of Councilmember Yu and Mayor Mann, working diligently with TransTech and staff to aggressively look at a road program that can be achievable and sustainable going forward. But the passage of Measure TC will help us try to reach that goal. With the change in oil prices and everything else, it's going to make it a challenging thing to do. But we're looking to tweak things in a way that we can deliver on services and to the community. So we're excited about what we'll be able to present going forward. And thank you to the council for their great direction ever since I've been here the last 12 years of really, conservative projections, conservative growth, but delivering in both services and capital projects to the community, which has been amazing. So more to come, and we'll have our study session on June 3rd. You'll have your packets a little ahead of time so you can take some time, even though you're all veterans of the budget process and have gone through it many times. So quite excited about that too. On the legislative front, the state budget with what's called the May revise did not seem to. For counties and some larger cities, there have been some impacts, but for those smaller cities like ours, those impacts they're negligible, if not any. It's usually a trickle-down effect on what happens at the county level, quite frankly, and how that trickles down into. But there's no direct services. For example, tonight you passed an amendment with our great partner, Family Promise, to continue their work. That funding is going unabated, so that's good news for us in terms of the direct services that we see through subvention funds through the state. There is talk about gas tax, but there was nothing in the May revise about a revision to the gas tax, so that would be probably the closest direct impact that we would see as what Temple City would see, but there's nothing really to be concerned about at this point in time. And also too, and even if there is some level of cuts in subvention funds, when I say subvention funds, I mean funds that are generated state and the state redistributes to counties and cities. Cities in a really good financial position to absorb that for a period of time, not forever, but for a period of time. So so good news on the May revise as well, for at least for Temple City. That's my report. Mayor Mann.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have an update from our city attorney.
Mr. Mayor, no updates from our office.
Okay, and then thank you for subbing in for Greg. We appreciate it. It's always good to have you. All right, next we have council reports regarding ad hoc or standing committee meetings. Do we have any?
No, Mayor.
No?
Thank you.
Let's see. Okay. Then we will move on to item 14, council items separate from the regular agenda. We'll start with Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Mayor Mann. I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Okay. Next, Councilmember Sternquist.
Just a brief update on the Contract Cities Conference. William attended and Ed did also. It's always nice to see your colleagues from other cities. The supervisors had a panel with Catherine Barger and Janice Hahn. Jeffrey Prang was there also. He was the MC for the entertainment, and he's just hilarious as always. But I think it was worthwhile. I didn't think there was anything that really stood in my mind. It was just pretty much reaffirmation that cities need to continue to work with their legislators and talk to them consistently, build relationships with them so that when there are problems, they hear us. So I think that was a big takeaway for me.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have a Councilmember Yu.
Nothing to add, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, next, Mayor Pro Tem Chen.
Just very briefly, last week I attended the California Community Choice Aggregate Conference as part of my duties on the Clean Power Alliance Board. I got some very good information from the energy sector, which I look forward to sharing with the community on social media and while the city's other channels. I am here at the International Convention of Shopping Centers. I'll have a full and more fuller update when I get back, but needless to say, it is my first time attending this conference, so learning quite a lot and trying to just learn how economic development and bringing nationally known brand businesses to Temple City. So I'll have a more complete update upon my return. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. As for me, I do want to also talk a little about the California Contract Cities Conference. It was well done. They had some interesting topics, and perhaps the one that kind of piqued my interest, and I guess my ask of our city manager is to see if this is something that applies to our city. And there was an interesting presentation from a lady who represented, I guess it's a subset of Google. And for the life of me, I can't remember exactly what that name was, but the purpose of that group was they were assisting cities and agencies in public outreach through virtual means. And so they gave an example of, I think it was the city of Bowling Green in Kentucky, where they were trying to solicit the public's input on a variety of issues across the city. And the campaign basically consisted of plastering QR codes all over the place to try to get people to engage. And because everyone has a cell phone, so the thought was, if you have a cell phone, you can use the QR code, you can access a survey and fill out the questions that the city may have wanted to either poll or get feedback from. And I think they described two types of surveys, one that's more structured where there's a subset of questions, and then there's other types of surveys where it's kind of this free-form field that you can just write and type whatever you want. And they have interesting ways of kind of compiling the information and aggregating that data. And at least for a city of their size, that if I recall, they said they got over 1 million different type of, they called it opinions, I guess.
Wow.
And several, I forgot how many thousands of actual participants in it, which I guess from their metrics was an extraordinary success. And I guess the point of that presentation was trying to get cities and agencies to really think about outreach in terms of traditional means, things that we normally do. I mean, for example, for Sereno Park, we hosted an actual workshop out at the site and invited our residents to come by, which we thought worked pretty well. But perhaps there may be other issues in the future where we're trying to reach a larger subset of our residents, and perhaps having some kind of technology or AI or whatever it is assist us in that could reach a much farther kind of a spectrum of residents. So I pose that as a question. I can't think of a direct application per se, but it's interesting because as a city, we have done polls and surveys before for a variety of issues. And I don't know how that fits in with traditional methods. You know, I know there's a whole science and industry behind kind of polling and doing those, or versus, you know, using this as a virtual community workshop of sorts when we're trying something new. So,
Yeah, well, looking, it was I was at that one, Google Jigsaw.
Jigsaw, okay, that's what it was.
So we'll take, but I'm having the staff, I'm gonna take a look at it as well.
Okay,
And
thank you.
report back to you.
As for events going on here, I do want to note that next week we do have quite a few things. We have our monthly law enforcement meeting with our sheriff's department on Wednesday morning. We also, on next Thursday, the 28th, the city council will have a joint meeting with I should say joint study session with our planning commission on updates to the Crossroads specific plan. So for those interested in attending, that will be next Thursday at the community room at 7 p.m.
William, who is the chair of the planning commission now? Do you know? Brian?
Top of my head.
was just
That's a good
thinking.
question. Yeah.
I don't know who the chair is off the
Okay.
top of my head.
Well, actually, we can find that out pretty quickly.
Iggy
'Cause,
would know.
Serge Haddad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just looked at
Thank you.
the item we just approved for the
Oh,
planning
okay.
commission minutes, so, yeah. We also, I know some of us were, not some, all of us were invited to the Temple City High graduation ceremony, which I believe is next Friday. So I do plan on attending.
Thank
It's
you.
always a nice event to kind of see the fresh graduates and their stories and how they're excited about embarking on this new chapter of their lives as they graduate from high school. And Councilmember Chavez, is there also a youth committee meeting
Yes.
next
it's,
week, is it?
Next Thursday,
Is it next Thursday? Okay.
5 o'clock, our last meeting of the year.
Oh, is the last meeting of the
Yeah,
year?
yeah,
Okay.
we're currently, I'm sorry, we're currently recruiting for next year. Peggy, I forget how many openings do we have? I think 6 openings, but some of
That's
those
a
are.
lot.
Well, yes, but some of those
Seniors?
are returning
Oh, okay.
members. They have two-year terms, but we'll see how that goes.
Great.
Yeah, look forward to that. And just to add to graduation, I think we have 4 graduating youth committee members this year from Temple City. Yeah. so
Nice.
Look forward to that.
Good. And of course, on a final note, I do want to mention that the upcoming weekend is Memorial Day. So we want to keep that in mind. It is a important day of observance and memorial that we should all hold sacred to the community. So I know while we may not have an explicit celebration like our veterans, I shouldn't say celebration, we don't have any kind of a ceremony in the same way that we observe Veterans Day, we should not forget that it is Memorial Day coming up. All right, with that, we go to additional public comments on items not listed on the agenda. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak at this time? Okay, seeing none, Madam City Clerk, are there any callers or virtual participants?
There are no callers or virtual participants, Mayor.
Okay, all right, thank you. Then with that, we are adjourned for the evening. Have a good night.